do me a favor and turn on your video cameras. If you don't know how to do it, then you just look down there to your left and you'll see the camera. It might have a line going through it. Just click on it. Thank you, George. Appreciate it. Okay. What's going on? What's going on? Thank you, Bradley. Bradley got his name, his where he's at, and his phone number in there. Did you get that from me, Bradley, or did you get that from my man Pace?
I got that from, I think, probably the first meeting I went to at the top of the week.
Yeah, because I told you, didn't
Yes.
Yeah, listen, guys, whenever you're on a Zoom call, you're on these kind of calls like that, you see how Bradley's got his name and he's got his state and his phone number in there. This is a good way for everybody to connect with each other, because in real estate, it's all about relationships, right? And you never know, you may need somebody, you may find somebody that you got to lead, and you're working it and it's turning into a deal, and you need somebody to be boots on the ground for you. Hey, you look on the screen, say, hey, I could call Bradley. Hey, Bradley, I got a property under contract in your neck of the woods where you're at. You mind being our boots on the ground and going to take pictures for me? And guess what? If you do that, we make the closing, I'll go ahead and pay you some money for going out there for me. That's how you work these things, guys. Everybody helping one another, okay? What's up, Joe? I see you at work. You at Amazon, ain't you, bro? Is that Amazon? You can take your hit.
No, BMW.
Oh, well, they all look alike in those doggone warehouses, man. They got the little stains going across and stuff, right? But it's cool. BMW, we're in South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
All right, upstate, Greenville, right? Close to Greenville, Spartanburg, right between there. I know where it's at. I used to live up that way. All right. Okay. So everybody who's on this call, this is going to be a pretty full call. Do me a favor. If this is your first time being on this call, put a 1 in the chat if you know how to do that. Put a 1 in the chat so I can see who I'm working with today, okay? If this is your very first time on this call, put a 1 in the chat. Okay, we got 1. Couple, yeah, okay, good. We got a few people in here. We got a few. Since Dave says 1, I think. That's good. Yeah, Mo. Yeah, cool. Bradley. Yep. Okay. All right. We got some first timers. If you've been on this call before, go ahead and put a 2 in the chat, because I want to try to make sure who I'm dealing with. Well, I already know you, Randy. Yeah, you. Okay. Let's see. Yep. Yeah. Come on now. All right. Mo, I thought you said you ain't been on there before. You put a 1 the first time. Talon, I know you've been on these calls before. I remember. It's all good, guys. It's all good. I hope everybody's doing well today. Just like I said, my name is Barry. I just like your boy Barry, and we're going to talk about the DealDriven app, right? This is a tool that each and every person who is a real estate investor really should have in their tool belt. It's always good to have plenty of tools in your tool belts. The more tools you have in your tool belt, the more things you can do. If you just have one screwdriver, you kind of limit yourself to what you can do with that screwdriver, right? You have a wrench, you got a socket, you got a saw, you got a hammer, you got, measuring tape. You can do a lot of things with that. Well, the DealDriven app is one of those things that you need to have in your tool belt. And so I'm going to go into the DealDriven app. I'm going to take a little deep dive into it on certain things. I don't know if you guys saw my video for the week, me being on here. I'm going to talk about, how you can look up information and all that good stuff. But we're going to go take a deep dive into it. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate some stuff. We're going to go through. I'm probably going to take a couple of addresses and, do some real world lookups, and then we'll go from there. And if you hold on, at the end, I know, we'll probably talk about this, but, if you haven't tried the DealDriven app, you can always get it, do a free trial, 7-day free trial. The link will be in the chat in a little while, but you'll be able to click on it. So before I get started, the free trial is already there. Thank you, Chloe. Chloe put it in the chat. So if you haven't gotten it, you haven't used it, go ahead and take advantage. Go ahead and get this thing, man. Go ahead and try it out. 7-day free trial. No muss, no fuss. Get it, use it, and see what you think about it. In my new iPhone, you have your hand up already. Do you have a question, or you didn't realize you actually put your hand up? I can take it down for you, okay? No problem. As I know it takes a little getting used to if you're not really used with Zoom, especially on the phone. I don't like using it on the phone. I like it on a laptop, but if you're not familiar with Zoom and where to go, sometimes you push stuff and stuff pops up. It's all good. All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. All right, let me go ahead and just move myself. Let me see if I can take myself off the video. All right, I ain't worried about it. All right. So this is the DealDriven app, guys. Once you actually sign up for it, you get your account and you log into it. This is a web-based app, okay? Web-based app. So there's not actually an application except on Google Play. You can actually download it from Google Play, but not from the Apple Store. You can't go to apps and pull it down. And any way you look at it, it's an application, but it's a web-based. And the reason why we have it as a web-based is because it makes it a lot easier to add more features to it versus using an app and you got to get permission and all these things. So basically, if you got this locked in on your laptop or your desktop or even on your iPhone or your Google or your Android, if you just go to your Chrome and just type in app.dealdriven.com, it'll pull you to this page. And then you just simply put in your email address that you use to sign up with the app and your password that you created. You also can sign in with a magic link if you want to. If you don't want to do a password, you can sign in with a magic email link. It'll send a link to your email and you can sign in that way. But the best way is just to go ahead and put in a password and then click on it. And once you get in there, it'll take a minute because I got so many people on the webinar here. Once you get in here, this is the dashboard, guys. This is where everything is like the central hub. This is where you can go anywhere in the DealDriven app to find things, okay? And if you look up here, you have some of these little icons. These icons represent mostly of these blue boxes anyway. So you have your home dashboard, which is this right here, the whole thing. And you have your property list. So this one is your property list as well. This one is point and click is what it says, but it's your lookup, your property lookup, right? Then you have your lead building search, which is your searching property for property leads nationwide. That's where you go and you create your list that you want to start using. And then over here is the question mark. And if you click on the question mark, it's going to pull this little drop down menu on it and you'll see watch the onboarding video. Now this onboarding video is a little older, but it still pertains to what you have in front of you because it teaches you how to pull a list. That's not changed. It'll teach you how to skip trace. That hasn't changed. All right. It'll teach you about, starting a campaign a mailer campaign, which really hasn't really changed. And also pulling lists. So that hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed in the DealDriven app is the way it looks and other extra features, which by the way, there are some new features that are coming out that's going to really blow your mind. They're still in testing, but once they get let out, we'll go ahead and let everybody know. Okay, so that's that. Over here on the side panel, this is going to tell you the version of the DealDriven app dashboard. It has the same quick stuff that's over here. This has it over here. If you want to know what's new in the DealDriven app, if you click this right here where it says what's new, it's going to tell you everything that's been added, all the little features, the fixes, the things that fix the bugs, all the way down to where it began. And I remember when the DealDriven app first came out, which it doesn't look nothing like it does now. It was still a great app when it came out, and it's always going to be a great app. Okay. So now I want to go ahead and show you guys, you know, some of the features that you're going to be using. You know, different applications out there, all of them pretty much pull from public records. Because a lot of times people say, well, Barry, how accurate is the numbers? Hey, Barry, how accurate is the information? Well, I need to let you guys know that we do pull our information from public records just like any other application out there. And it really depends on where that information comes from, which county it came from, you know, what office did it come out of, and how did they put it in there? Or did they put it in there? Or did they put it in there wrong? So sometimes when you're starting to pull data from the DealDriven app and you're, you know, doing your skip tracing and you're like, hey, some of this stuff ain't right, it ain't working, just know that we pull the information from the public record source, and it really depends on how they put it in the way it translates to us. So just keep that in the back of your mind. It doesn't matter which application you use, whether it's a DealDriven app or another one, just know they're all pulling pretty much from the same place or the same public records. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right. I guess Chloe, do we do questions on this call?
Yes, they can ask questions in the chat, or they can raise their virtual hand and you can answer them from there.
Okay, all right, cool, thank you. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. And if you do have a question that you want to ask, make sure you raise your Zoom hand. If you don't know how to raise your Zoom hand, if you're looking at your Zoom screen and you look down to the lower right, you're going to see the little guy, the reactions tab, the guy with the plus sign come out of his head. And you can click on that and you can see where it says raise hand. You raise your Zoom hand and I'll get to you with, you know, asking your questions. If you're on a phone, I think it is, if you're looking at it, it's like the more, and then it comes down and you can raise hand there too. I'm not 100% sure, but if you don't find it, you can type your information, your question in the chat, or if I see you once I pop out of here and you're going like this, hey, Barry, hey, then I'll recognize you and say, what's up? So one of the cool features about the DealDriven app is really, really cool is you don't even have to go into this right here to find a property. If you already know the address, we have what we call the quick property search. So if you enter in the address or location, it's going to pull it up accordingly. So if I was to put in here 123 Main Street, it's going to start highlighting wherever, you know, these different places. And say I'm looking at the one in Edison, New Jersey. If I click on it, it's going to take me to that property. It's going to pop it up where it's located at, and it's going to pull up the property card or the property card with all the information of that specific property right then and there. And right here, just this right here is more information that you're going to get in a lot of different apps without having to click, click, click. You got your property information right here. You got the estimated valuation. You got the equity, the estimated equity. What should the equity be in the house? The loans, if there's loans attached to it, how much is left on that loan? The last transfer, meaning when was this property last sold? What happened? What kind of transfer? What you can find out different types of transfer within the card itself, and I can show you that. Also, the type of residence it is, the owner's name, and when this information was last updated. You can see it was last updated 2 months ago. So right off the rip, from your dashboard, you can just actually put a property address in there and boom, you're there, okay? And that's one of the good features, the great features about it. So I'm gonna go back to the dashboard because I wanna show you this feature that we recently added that I don't think we really talk about it that much. But if you know driving for dollars, if everybody down here knows how to do driving for dollars, the best part of the app is always going to be when you're doing your driving for dollars is to look up properties by GPS or address. So if you click on that, okay, wherever you're driving, make sure you have it on, and then make sure you have your navigation enabled. So if I click on the app navigation, it's going to take me exactly where I'm actually located at. Right now, I'm located down here in the sunny state of Florida. I'm sitting right here by the ocean. And you can see the little car. So when you do it, when you're driving for dollars, you can actually click on it, make sure your navigation is going, and it's going to follow you wherever you're driving. So you can pinpoint exactly where you're at and what type of property you're looking at visual. Okay. You'll also see that this legend down here, it indicates wherever you're searching, wherever you're located at, if any of the properties have any of these features, like the non-owner occupied is blue. You know, this is an area where there's a lot of non-owner occupied properties. This is one of those places where it's an Airbnb. And so you see there's a lot of little blues going on, okay? The thing about this is, and I'm gonna show you this is pretty cool. Normally when you see a blue like this and you click on it, you generally just get the address. Now we know that this thing right here has multiple units because it's a condo. But what if we want to know what else is in there? What else is in that building? Well, if you go down here to more, you're going to click on find more properties like this. And when you click on it, what it's going to do, it's going to pull up the properties that are in those condo units that are inside that building and surrounding areas as well. So now you can, pretty much look and see, okay, dog, I got a lot of properties here, especially at 1308, 1306. These are the unit numbers. These are the ones that are in that specific building. So you can actually go through here and kind of get a comparable of what's going on. So if somebody says, I want to sell my condo and I want to sell it for, $500,000. Well, ma'am, sir, based on what I see in your building, nothing's selling for that price, right? I understand that's what you want. And I would love to give it to you, but, as an investor, I gotta, make sure that I take care of myself and my business too. So thank you, but no, thank you. Anyway, I'm just saying that because you can actually find out the information about what, the houses are selling for in that area. But the thing is, the whole building, you can actually take a look at. I think that's pretty cool. It wasn't in there before, and I only know one other app that can actually kind of do that, but not like this. So that was something I thought was pretty cool. Does anybody have any questions so far before I continue on? Anybody? Let me see. No shares. I'm stopping the share. Nobody have any questions about anything? Man, y'all quiet. Y'all really quiet. Are you learning anything? If you're learning something, put a 100 in the chat, please. I just want to know if you're learning anything because I got to make sure that you're getting a value out of this call. Thank you, thank you. Okay, there's a couple of 100s. Yep. There you go. Cool. All right, cool. All right. I want to make sure I'm teaching guys something. I don't want you to be wasting your time. Okay. Let me go back to the DealDriven app. All right. So, like I said before, when you're doing your driving for dollars, you always want to use the lookup properties. Or somebody says, hey, I got this property on 123 Main Street and I'm interested in selling, or somebody, let's say you have somebody looking at properties for you and they say, hey, I found one. It's over here on, Blankenship Way. This is the address. You can quickly just go ahead and put that address right there. And it's going to take you straight to that property where it's located on the map and pull up your property card. Okay. That's what you're going to use that. You see, for driving for dollars, just finding specific properties, right? That's what you're going to use. If you're trying to create a list of properties, which the DealDriven app is absolutely great for that. If you're trying to create a list that you want to make calls on, like, for instance, pre-foreclosures, right? If you want to pull pre-foreclosure lists, you can do that. If you want to pull vacant property lists, you can do that. If you want to pull tired landlord lists, you can do that, as well as, tax delinquent lists. You can pull those non-owner occupied. And if you want to do that, then the place you need to go is right here where it says search for property leads nationwide using the search filters. So when you click on that, you choose Joe. Hey, can somebody mute Joe for me? All right. So when you click on that, it's going to take you to what we call the lead building search. All right. And so anytime you want to create a list in your area or your market, or if you're out of, do something out of state, you have the opportunity to do that right here. So you just simply enter in. You can put an address in there, or you can put a city in there, or you can put a zip code in there, or you can put a county in there. Either way, and you can start this. So I'm going to do a real quick search. Since I'm down here in Tampa, I'm going to go ahead and type in Tampa, Florida. And I'm just going to do Tampa overall. All right. So I'm going to zoom out so we can see. This is the Tampa Bay area. Now, normally this comes up defaulted at a 1 mile radius. So if you look, you'll see the little circle around 1 mile radius of downtown Tampa, Florida. But you have the ability to go up to 50-mile radius, which is really, really big, which is probably going to put us out in the ocean, of course, and way probably halfway across the state. Yep. So that's a 50-mile radius. So you have the ability to adjust those either way you want to go, right? And you can also pinpoint an area where you want to look at as well. And let's say I wanted to look in Brandon, and I just want to look right here. Well, instead of using a search radius, which I could use, I would use draw polygon. And what that does is it kind of helps you pinpoint the area that you want to look at. So if I just wanted to look in this area right here, what I would do is I would tap on the map, and you can do this on your phone or your iPad. You can do those. You just tap on it, and then you tap over here, and then maybe you want to move it down a little bit further, and you tap here, and then you tap here, right? And what that does is it draws an area. The shaded area is where the DealDriven app is going to search, all right? It's going to tell you how many properties are actually in this little square. So if I say done drawing, click on done drawing, it's going to say there's only 184 properties right there. Okay. If I want to get more properties in there, I can actually just, expand what I have drawn in here. So I can just pull it up this way. I can pull it this way, right? And I can make it either way I want to. I can go further over. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to leave it right there. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and click on done drawing. And it only says 186 more properties. Oh, I know why it's saying that. Made a mistake here. It already had what the search criteria in here. So that's why it's going to show me that. So let me clear that. So say I make mistakes. So sometimes you have to make sure that this is clear. And right now I'm waiting for my search criteria. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Tampa again. All right. I'm going to go back to where I was looking at. And I'm going to go ahead and just draw polygon around that area. I'm done drawing. So it's over 10,000 properties in just in that little square right there. That's a good sampling. And so the next thing I do with the DealDriven app, because I'm going to create a list. I want to create a list of pre-foreclosures, because pre-foreclosures are motivated sellers most of the time. When you get a hold of them and you're able to talk to them and find out what their pain point is, a lot of times that's going to be your motivated seller, right? Like tired landlords. A lot of the landlords who went through the pandemic was like, look, I'm done with this. I'm tired of this. I'm not getting paid, yada, yada. That's a motivation right there. But you can find those things. But what I do is I go ahead and click on select search type. Now, over here in the DealDriven app, this is where the fun happens or the magic happens as far as how do you create a list, Barry? So Barry, how do you create a list? If I want to do pre-foreclosures, how do I do it? Well, step one is find out your search, where you want to look at. Step two is to go to your search criteria. Now, these up here, these are the top. These are predefined search criteria. So when you click on them, it's going to give you like tired landlord, single family, multifamily, from a date when they first got this house, and all kinds of information. Or you can always just do your own search, your own criteria. So I'm going to do pre-foreclosures. And it says there's 167 within that square that I drew. Now I can stack this. And what I mean by stacking is I can say, okay, how many non-owner occupied properties are in pre-foreclosure? All right, it came out with this big number, but that's not everything. So when it says any, it means any property could have one or both of these criteria. They could be under pre-foreclosure, or they could be non-owner occupied, or they could have both, but it's just picking either one. But if you want to make sure that the properties that you're looking for have both those criteria, just simply click on all. And it's going to say 37 properties in that square are pre-foreclosure, non-owner occupied, meaning generally they're just like people who have a property that they don't live in, and it's more potentially going to be a rental property or income producing property for them. But for some reason, it's in pre-foreclosure, okay? I'll go ahead and remove that because I want to get a bigger list for straight pre-foreclosures. So you can click on it. You can do vacant properties. There's only 5 of those. Or you can do out-of-state owners. There's 5 of those. So it's just like you can pick and choose, or you can do one. Generally, when I do pre-foreclosures, I don't stack it at all. You just want to get to pre-foreclosures. The next thing you want to do is you always want to go to continue to additional filters. This is where you could actually pinpoint specifically what you want it to be. So let's say you're looking at single family homes, and that's what you're concentrating on. When I clicked on single family homes, it said it's found 144 properties that are in pre-foreclosure in that square. Okay. Now, if I want to go any further, I can do townhomes, condos, all the way down to residential vacant land. So you have a choice, or you can do all of these, or you can just do one of them. We're going to stick to the single family homes right now. Okay. When it comes to the equity, we used to go ahead and put in 35%. You know, any deal that you want to do, you want to at least have a minimum of 35% equity in it. So you can kind of just, you know, give you some room to do the deal. Okay. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it blank because the way it is nowadays, you know, if it has low equity, no equity, you know, there's other options that you can do, you know, to help these people. You can do a short sale. You can be creative about it. You know, doing some sub twos or, you know, owner finance or anything like that. And there's ways to help people, but we're just going to keep it basic. But you can pinpoint this, guys. I'm telling you, you can make it down to where you want to. You can break it down to the bedrooms, the number of bedrooms. If you're only looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, so let's put that in there. I'm only looking for houses that are in pre-foreclosure that have at least 3 bedrooms and at the most 3 bedrooms. Okay. All right. So that brought it down to 68. That lowers my amount of properties that I got to go deal with. And then you could just break it down like that, but I'm going to leave it just like I had it before. So I'm at 144. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something pretty cool. So I pulled a list. I got 144 properties that are on pre-foreclosure. All right. Within this list, I can create 2 additional lists. So I can have 3 altogether if I wanted to out of this. One of them would be the notice of default. Okay. Notice of default, if you don't know what that means, notice of default is simply when a homeowner fails to make a mortgage payment, their mortgage company or financial institution sends them a letter and says, hey, you haven't made your payment. What's going on? Let us know. We can help you. They don't make the payment. The next month goes by, they don't make the payment. They get the same letter. Then they start sending out notices. They send out a notice, and it's a public record notice saying, hey, this person has missed their mortgage payments. This is a potential property that may be foreclosed on. Basically, that's what it says in a nutshell. So they actually put this out on public records. So we can actually go in and create lists of notice defaults. We can do 30 day, 40 or 60 days, whatever we want to by using the calendar. If you choose to use 30-day notice of default, that means this person just got the notice. That means they've missed either one or two mortgage payments and their financial institutions put them on notice. That is a time when you really want to start talking to people. Okay. They may not be ready to, sell their house, or they may not be in that situation, but always remember, as a real estate investor, you always want to add value. And so adding value is seeing somebody in a situation and say, hey, I noticed that your house, your property is maybe in danger of going to foreclosure. I'm here to see if I can help assist you. Have you tried a loan modification? Have you tried to work it out with some organizations in your area? Have you done this? Have you done that? That adds value. Now, they may not be ready to talk to you right now. They may say, oh, I got this handled. Okay, great. If there's anything I can do, let me know. And then you put them on follow-ups. You follow up with them, because a lot of times they think things are going to work out and they don't. They think, well, I'm going to get a loan modification. But if they don't make enough money to pay for the loan modification, then they're not going to get it. They're going to get denied. And what generally happens, they'll kind of drag it out for 30, 60 days, and then they'll tell them, hey, and all the while, fees are piling up. So 30-day notice of default. So if I wanted to find out who just got a notice in the last 30 days, I'll click on this calendar here, and I'll go back 30 days. And I'll click on October the 1st, and it's going to tell me just 7 properties got a notice of default. Okay, that's a short list. It's a lead. You can still go out and work it. But obviously, there's going to be more to be had. So I can go back 60 days. I can go back 90 days. Generally, you just want to go back to 90 days, okay? And you want to click on it, and you saw that in the last 90 days, 35 property owners actually got a notice of default, okay? So now you can create a list out of this. So you got your pre-foreclosure list, so you can create another list, notice of default, and you just simply click on show results, and it's going to show you, right? It's going to give you the property information. It's going to show you where they're located. Now, there's one here that's in red. There's a couple of them that's got red, which means they have an auction date. And you can actually see right here where that auction date is, January the 9th. It's coming up. When did they get their notice of default? October the 12th. There you go. So that information is there. So this is a list that you can create. You just simply click on here and add it to a list. And I'm gonna go ahead and add this one, and I'm gonna go back. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna call this one Tampa 90 NOD. So it's 90 notice of default. And I'm gonna go ahead and confirm that. And I'm gonna let it create that little list that we're gonna go back, and we're gonna skip trace that one. All right, so that is actually list number 1 out of all of the pre-foreclosure lists. So I'm gonna say okay. And then I'm gonna go ahead and uncheck that, and I'm gonna go back to my search results. And I'm gonna come back here, and I'm gonna go ahead and delete that date. It's gonna take me back to the 144. The next list I want to create is going to be a hot list. This is a list where, hey, these people are about to go to auction like ASAP. I need to get a hold of them. This should be my top priority. I'll go down to auction date, and I'm going to look at auction after, meaning the auction date after today's date. So I click on that, and it's only showing 4 properties. So the other ones are probably about to go sometime later, but these 4 are coming up. And these are quick ones right here. So I can go ahead and say show results. And there's one coming up November the 9th, which is next week, November the 30th, the end of the month, right? And then we have this other one that's coming up in January. So we already got that one in there somewhere, but this is a list that you can create as well. If you have a bigger area. So notice I'm only searching in the area that I drew the rectangle around. So if you did a bigger radius, you would probably get a bigger list. But this is a way, I'm just showing you, this is a way to create another list out of that 144. And I could create it, and I'm not going to, but I could create it. And then I would go back to my search results again. And I would go ahead and remove this, right? And then I can just go ahead and make this my general. Even though it's going to capture some of these other ones in here, the ones that it did not capture in those shorter lists, it will be in this big list. And I can make this my general pre-foreclosure list. Okay, let me stop the share real quick. Does anybody got any questions about that? Creating those types of lists? Anybody? Yes, sir, Bradley. You have to unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying. Got my question that fast. Oh, here's my question. So you have multiple lists going on, even if you made 3 lists out of that one larger list. Now, when you go to do the skip tracing, if you're skip tracing from one list and then you have a second list in the same general area, when it goes to skip trace, is it gonna know, is the system gonna know the merge that you already asked for a skip trace on this property? So you don't need it here, or are they gonna just skip check it again, skip trace it again?
Great question. So it will actually show that, hey, when you start doing your skip tracing, and if you look at it, let's say you have a list of 35, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have a list of 144. You skip trace that one already, and you got those all 144 done. You go to the 35, you click on skip trace. It's going to say skip trace 35 properties. You say yes. And then it'll say 20 skipped, 15 not skipped, basically. So it's already showing. So it's going to show you, the system will look and say, oh, this has already been skip traced already.
Okay.
Now, this is the caveat. If you do free skip trace, right, on all yours, and you let that run, but then you go back and you do an instant skip trace where you use credits for that 35 maybe, it's going to skip trace it again because the instant skip trace uses a different company to pull that information because you're getting more information versus the free skip trace. It's only give you basic information like phone number, right?
Right.
So it will do that, but that it won't count towards your free skip trace quota. But if you have credits already in your system, your account, then it's going to go towards those. Does that kind of make sense?
Well, it does, but I'm not sure it's answering my question because I've already made like 3 or 4 lists in this general area. And I noticed there are some overlapping properties because every time I change the search parameters, whether I go from 5 miles to 20 miles, a lot of the same properties keep popping up. You know what I mean? And so I end up putting them on another list, even though I already had them on one list, because I want to go by and look at every address and uncheck that one, look at that and uncheck that one. I'll be for hours just trying to remove the ones off the joint list, off the matching list. So yeah. if I hit a free skip trace across all of them, I guess my question is it going to go towards my skip trace quota if it's running the same skip trace from 2 different lists simultaneously? I guess
no, I get you. So as long as if there's 2 properties in 2 different lists, if one of them is already been skipped,
same property on 2 different lists.
Yeah, same property on 2 different lists, and you skip trace it on one of the lists, and you go and skip trace the other list, it generally will bypass the one that you already skipped. Right? Okay.
My question.
Another thing is when you're doing your search like that, if you're doing it because you're in Jersey, so it's zip codes running into each other like this, you know what I'm saying, and everything. Use the polygon search. Don't use the radius search. Use the polygon so that way you can pinpoint like If you're just trying to get a specific 3-block radius, right?
Right.
Open a map up, you draw a polygon and just tap around that perimeter. So it only searches within that right there, okay? When you do the radius search, yeah, you know, especially in areas like that, you're gonna probably get, even if you think you moved up far enough, it's still, for some reason, it still gets it. So I very rarely use the radius search when I use the DealDriven app. I usually try to use the polygon because I'm looking at specific areas. So you may want to try that and see if it helps improve your, you know, how many properties you get. Yeah, so it won't be duplicating properties.
Well, the thing is that there's plenty of properties in my area on the pre-foreclosure list, more than I can probably reasonably handle, especially whether it's a 5-mile radius or a 25-mile radius. And in fact, I might even go to a town that I know is 35 miles away from here, put that address in, do a search of that area, and put it in 15, 20 miles. It still wrap some of those properties, scoop some of them up in that new list that I'm trying to develop there, you know?
Yeah, that's why I say use the polygon, okay? I think that'll help you a lot more.
All right.
But if it doesn't, just, you know, let me know.
Right.
You know, and we'll just see if we can tweak that a little bit.
Well, I'm not trying to minimize the amount of
Oh yeah, I know.
You know, if there's 150 in the area, I'm going to check them all, you know, much as fast as I can, depending on how much time I have on those court dates, you know.
Well,
so many cars in 30 days, you know.
Yeah, keep doing it then. Yeah, keep on. Yeah, we want to touch as many people as we possibly can, but like you said, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of areas are getting more and more and more every day. So,
yeah, I'm in a super urban area with, you know, very populated suburbs around them. So between the urban area and the suburbs right around them, you know, it's a lot. Because of the pandemic, a lot of people are in trouble. So, you know, there's opportunity. You know. But you answered the question, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Steve.
Hey, Barry, 2 questions for you, if I could. First,
yes, sir.
If I look up a particular address in DealDriven, will DealDriven be able to tell me for a pre-foreclosure whether that pre-foreclosure is because they didn't pay their taxes versus whether it was a mortgage foreclosure?
In some instances, yeah. Do you have an address?
I don't have one in particular. We have kind of a different business model that we're thinking of using DealDriven for, where when a property gets sold at auction, we'd like to help them claim whatever the difference is between what the investor paid and what they owed on the property. And it's easier for us to do that for tax foreclosures in some cases. So, you know, that's why I asked that question.
Okay. Well, let me pull one of these up. Let's pull this one up. All right, so that when I went into that property, this is what we call the property details page. And you have all this information here. But the pre-foreclosure information is generally right in here. But it doesn't tell me, it's going to tell me what type of it is, a notice of sale. The lender information. Case numbers, but it's not going to tell me if this is, well, if I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, this was a lender, they didn't pay something, they missed their mortgage, but I don't know, it's not telling me all that stuff right there. It just gives me the lender's phone number and the original notice of default, which was like October. So they just got this one. But no, I don't think it's not going to give you exactly what type of, if it's a tax delinquent or if it's going just to be a regular foreclosure action initiated by the financial institution, like blatantly. It's kind of like you got to kind of figure this one out.
I might be able to help you with that, Steve.
Okay, Brandon.
Because it's probably different in every state. But like here in New Jersey, for instance, when people, they have the property tax sales that are conducted by the sheriff, but the property tax, the real estate auctions, foreclosed auctions are completely different. At a property foreclosure, they're not selling tax liens and tax deeds. That's a completely different category of auction, etc. So that information wouldn't be on a pre-foreclosure, because a pre-foreclosure, at least in New Jersey, is not going to be on taxes. It's only going to be on the property mortgage. I don't know if that helps you or how it operates in your state. Maybe you could just Google that question.
Oh, okay, so I guess a question for you and for Barry, then does DealDriven list tax foreclosures at all? Or when we search for pre-foreclosures, is it all mortgage foreclosures?
Most of it's going to be mortgage foreclosures.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys. And just one more question for Barry, if I could.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
DealDriven, you're looking at this example screen here, for example, will it tell me, I know at the beginning of the webinar, you mentioned how DealDriven can tell us the amount outstanding on a loan.
Hold 1 second. Hold 1 second. Just that quick. Rain.
Okay.
It's storming down here. Oh, God. Out of here.
You mentioned, Barry, at the beginning, how DealDriven can tell us how much is outstanding on a loan. Can DealDriven tell us the total dollar amount owed for all liens, whether it be, they didn't cut their grass, the HOA liens, etc., or is it speaking only about, the lien being foreclosed on the amount they owe there?
It's only going to show you the amount that the mortgage or the loan was or lien was for the mortgage.
Okay.
And I don't know if any, I mean, there's one or two, there's maybe one. They'll tell you liens, but still, when it comes to pre-foreclosures, the only way we know the exact total amount of what they owe is actually getting the latest mortgage information from the mortgage lender, or if the person has gotten their latest mortgage, it's going to tell you, the original balance, the arrears, the fees, and it all totals up for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that's a difficult thing for any software to be able to, pull all that information about all those.
Yeah.
If maybe it could be impossible. So,
yeah. Most of the time, when you see for instance, when it says loan balance, total loans, loan balance, this is just going to be an estimated, there's an algorithm that actually says, okay, they got this loan issued to them in 2010 and now it's 2022. So based off of public records and guess, the rhythm, they should owe this amount of money.
I understand.
But it's not going to be it won't be accurate as the paper from the financial institution.
Right. Okay. Yeah, Barry, this webinar is awesome. It's answering a lot of my questions. If I do think of a question after the webinar, is there a phone number or an email address that I can contact to ask before I would sign up for DealDriven or? Oh
no, you can actually go into the DealDriven Facebook group. Is there everybody a member of the Facebook group for DealDriven?
I'm not yet.
Okay. Yeah, just go into the Facebook group, DealDriven. Was it Facebook is DealDriven? I don't even know what it is. Chloe? I know what it is, but I know.
It's just DealDriven community.
Yeah, DealDriven community. Just go there and join the Facebook community, and then put your questions in there, right? Okay. And if it's something I can get to that I can have time, I'll I may reach out to you and say, hey, this is what we're talking about, Steve. Yada yada yada. Okay.
Great webinar, Barry. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. No worries. I'm looking at the chat. Shakina. What do you mean due on sale?
I was trying to answer Nova's question. I was wondering if that's what that meant. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, cool. When I'm doing these things, I see the chat going on, but I don't really get in there. I'm like, I should have scrolled back up. My bad.
It's okay. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But is that correct? That DOS?
Due on sale? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Nova. You in Florida too?
Yes, I am. Port St.
Where-
Lucie. Port
Oh,
St. Lucie.
Okay. Not far. It just started raining here. I'm in Tampa.
It's raining here too.
I'm like, oh, I don't need to see that. Anyway, I'm just the only reason I'm doing this because I'm from California, guys. I just moved here, so boom. I'm like, this is not anyway.
I'm from New York. I just moved here too.
Oh yeah. Welcome to Florida.
So,
All right, Miss Marina Rad, you have your hand up.
Hey, Barry, just
Hey.
so everybody knows, both of the links for our DealDriven page are in the chat there for the Facebook and Instagram page as well. So you guys can go ahead and follow.
Thank you, Marina. Appreciate that. All day, every day. All
No
right, so before I jump off, because there's only a few minutes left, let me go ahead and skip trace these properties and we can go from there. And then next week we'll have the same thing. Also remember, guys, if you haven't tried the DealDriven app, right? If you've been on these calls and you haven't used the DealDriven app and you're thinking about it, we do offer a free trial, right? Chloe's gonna put the link in the chat again and you just click on it. Try the free trial out, just test drive it. Do whatever you can, add properties, create lists, and see how it works for you. And if you enjoy it, then I think it's like $49 a month after that. So give it a try. Let me go ahead and skip trace those properties real quick so you'll see how that works.
Excuse me, Barry.
Yes, Katrina.
Will this recording be posted somewhere? Because I got in late. All of the links in my emails, except for the one that got me here, were not working when you first started.
I think, Chloe, this is going to be posted on the Facebook group, right?
It will be on Facebook and probably on YouTube also, the DealDriven YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now you have a list, right? Just move my face out the way here. Got a list. There's two views for the DealDriven app. One of them is called Card View, which is this is what it is. And then there's also what we call List View. And it's the same information. It's just, it comes out in a different format. Same information, different format. Me personally, I like the Card View. And the reason I like the Card View is because you can actually add photos. You can add photos in the other one too, but you got to go into it and do it. With this one, if you don't have the automatic photo enabled, which is an extra cost on your phone or on your account, you can actually click on Get Photo, right? And go to get Google Street Photos, or you can add your own. If you take a picture right there and you can add your own, and then you can actually pull whatever Google has. It'll be a street view or it's going to be a satellite view of the property. And the reason I like it is because you can use this for creating postcards or for marketing inside of the DealDriven app. We're not going to get to that today, but you can. But I like it, and I have automatic. So next time I look at this list, all these pictures will probably be full. But I want to skip trace this list real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here. It's going to select every property on the list, all 35. And then I have a choice. I can do the free skip, which everybody on this call, once you join, you can. Or I'm going to do the instant skip. The instant skip does require credits. You purchase those credits within the app. $10 will get you 30 skips. You can skip 30 properties for $10. And the more you add, the more, of course, you can skip. And when you do the instant skip trace, it's just what it says. It's instantly. Free skip trace, it takes anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to get your info. But I usually use the instant skip trace. So I'm going to go ahead and do instant. I'm going to click on it. And it's going to tell me, once it gets through, it's going to tell me, skip trace 28 properties. 7 of these properties were excluded because they were already skip traced somewhere in my account. They're in there. All right. Since they already skip traced them. Each skip trace will consume 1/3 of a credit, and they'll tell you how many credits you have available. And then it'll tell you how many it should take at most. If it does not, okay, if it does not show an email address or confirm an email address, phone number, or a confirmed mailing address, if it does not confirm any of those, then you won't get charged for it. But if it confirms one or three of these, then you will get charged for it. So I'm going to go ahead and click yes. It's going to tell me processing the skip trace will run in the background. You can continue working. So I can actually continue to do whatever I want to do, or if I want to see it, I just click on refresh. It's going to refresh the whole list. And boom, I'm finished skip tracing already. And there's the skip trace. So if I want to, and also my picture showed up too, because it showed it up because I had the automatic pictures. But you'll know when your skip trace is finished when this guy right here turns green. Even if you're doing a free skip trace, it's going to be yellow, meaning it's pending. Once it's completed, it's going to turn green. And then beside it, you're going to have phone number or email. So if you do the drop-down menu, it's going to show you phones. When you have a regular handset, that's just like a landline. If you have one that has a mobile device on it, let's see, like this is a mobile phone. And if it has a mobile phone, you can text it. And you can do this all within the app. You can call within the app, and you can text within the app. You can also send emails from the app itself, if those email addresses are valid there. So I've got my list, it's skip trace. Now all I need to do is get a hold of people and start making phone calls, texts, door knocking, whatever I need to do to get a hold of these people, because hey, you're 90 days of notice of default. So we know auction is coming. Let me see if I can help you. All right. Now I know this was kind of quick. You know, we could be on here for hours, but unfortunately I don't have hours and hours to do this. So next Thursday, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chloe, we're going to do this again next Thursday, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Chloe Rad. All right, so next week, same bat time, same bat channel, we'll be on here and we'll go through another portion of the DealDriven app. I hope you guys, does anybody have any questions before we bounce off? Anybody got anything? Look in the chat. It says, can you try some lookups for Maryland, especially how to look up buyers? You know what? Let me just do it real quick. Okay. Jeanette, where are you at? Unmute yourself.
I'm at work. I'm at work, so.
Or what? Say what? You muted yourself again.
No, I'm at work and I cannot turn the camera on.
That's fine. Don't need the camera on. I just wanted you to open up your microphone. That's all. Okay. So you're talking about Maryland. Where at in Maryland?
Say, like in Silver Spring.
Silver Springs. All right. You want to find buyers in Silver Springs, right?
Yes.
All right. So using, yeah. So I'm going to go do this real quick, guys. Click on this and share again. So with the DealDriven app, you absolutely can find buyers in your area. One way is if you pull the list, since I'm already in the list, if I pull the list and I've already done my, skip trace and everything, if I go into the property details, right? And I'm in a specific area, if you look right here where it says find an investor, you can find investors who bought properties in that area. That's one way to do it, okay?
Okay.
The other way is if you go to the dashboard, all right, and you see this over here, it says find cash buyers anywhere in the US. When you open that up, you click on it, okay? Now, what this is looking for, it's gonna search public records. It's searching for records of people who purchase properties for cash, okay? So if I put in Silver Spring, so you can put a street address, a city, zip, right? But I'm going to put in Silver Springs, Maryland. All right. So you see, it's sort of like the lead building search. You got your radius, you got your map right here. Scroll. Yeah. And it's a 5 mile radius that I'm searching. And so over here, it's showing me results already. Okay. You got Pratima Singh, the average deal price that they pay for, the price ranges, and when they were active. Now, some of these people are not active. Some of them may be active, but haven't bought anything for a while. That's okay. You can filter these out. So you can scroll down and you can choose filters, okay? And you can search by property type, single family or multifamily or both. So let's do single family. And it's processing. Sometimes it takes it a second to process all that information before you can move on. Okay. It still says I have 100. All right. So then I can break it down by how much cash they invested. So if I wanted to say, I'm just looking for properties between 100,000 and 300,000. Second, come on. All right. It's going to take it a second. Let's see if it reduced to some, but I don't know how many. It still says it's 100. Now, property count. By default, it's looking for 2 purchases by this individual at the minimum. These people have bought 2 properties at minimum. I can go ahead and do my drop-down menu, and I can really say 2 to maybe 5. Okay. So you can limit this how you want to. You can break this down however you want to. It's going to do all the stuff, right? And then you can go to the last sale date, meaning you can break this down by range. So if I wanted to say, I want to know who's bought something, I'll go back maybe 2019, and I'll take November, and I'll take today's date, or I can do the 1st, right? It's going to show me from that period on who's bought in that area. Now, this is not the only place you can find cash buyers, but this is a start. Now, this right here, you're going to see this is a LLC. This is a bank. And this one right here is an individual. And you're going to say, well, Barry, how do I actually find these people? Because with the DealDriven app, you're not going to be able to skip trace this per se. Okay. And you can always export your list. So if you have a big list, you can export it. You can use PDF or you can do CSV, one or the other. But let's say you want to, I got to find out who this person is. I need to talk to them. I need to get a hold of them ASAP. So there's a workaround with the DealDriven app. Like this one right here, I'm going to take this person and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy their address. I'm going to go back over here to search, individual search, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it. And I'm going to click on it. And if this is a residential, which it may not be, it doesn't look like it. It's a company that's owned a whole bunch of properties. So he's in there somewhere. Now we could, let me see if I can do, nope, it's not going to let me do it. Sometimes this will take you to the person's property because some people do their LLCs out of their home. This one is taking me to a commercial property, so I'm not going to be able to really search him. But I can also do Google. I can take that name and put Google, to Google and see if I can find them that way. But the best thing to do is to send out mailers to these addresses, to talk to these people, or to get them, find out if they're buyers. And like I said, there's other ways to find buyers too. Just go on Craigslist, right? They're still there. It still works. Meetups, all those good places, any kind of RIA. But that's the way you can find property or cash buyers on the DealDriven app. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We still got questions. Okay. Michael Lee. Hey, Michael. Yep. Let me go to the next one real quick. King's Enid.
Hi, Barry Royce.
Oh,
Well,
Royce, well, put your name on it the right way.
yeah, well, I was on the meeting on the other, I was using that Zoom.
Fine.
But anyway,
It's all
yeah.
good.
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask the same question she was asking, but the numbers, how to contact those cash buyer, how to find their. So you said we're not gonna skip trace them and find the number, right?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to skip trace them from that list.
Okay.
Sometimes you can copy and paste the address and put it in the search and find that individual and then skip trace it. It doesn't work all the time, but you can do it. The other thing is, like for that LLC, you just copy it, go to Google, put it in there, and you can find. Trust me, you can find out the information about how to.
So the
contact
number, the number will be shown.
It'll have, yeah, we'll have a what do they call it? LLC company contact. They'll have a point of contact in there. Okay, and then you can reach out to them that way as well.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Barry.
Okay, sir. You got them here. I can't hear you, Michael.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Got you.
Oh, you might have been watching the other day. It was Tuesday on Daniela's show.
Mhm.
At the end, Tommy was speaking, and he was showing how to access the Facebook page and bring up a kind of a menu that can get you caught up on notifications, posts, and that kind of thing. And I didn't really catch how we did that. There was some kind of alternate on the Facebook page. It just brought up a menu.
That's news to me.
Okay.
Yeah, jump on Coach's Corner.
Okay.
And cool.
Yeah, I've been busy today, but thank you very much.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. That concludes the weekly DealDriven app call. Like I said, if you haven't tried it, man, go ahead and click on the link in the chat if you haven't already done it. 7-day free trial. Give it a test run and see how you like it. Okay. And next week, we'll have another one of these great calls. I don't know if I'm going to be on it or if it's going to be Julie. We'll see. All right. You guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you. All right now.